Ever heard the phrase, walls have ears? Well, in my case, that was literally me, the ears. Growing up in a rough neighborhood, my single mum and I moved into a run-down apartment with barely there walls that couldn't mask the sounds of life happening on the other side. As a kid, I spent nights pretending that the loud arguments and the unmissable sounds of physical altercations were just monsters playing rough. But as I got older, those fantasies faded, replaced by a more mature understanding of the hardships and realities of adult life. By the time I reached college, we moved to a slightly better place near my school. It was on the top floor of a building with no elevator, and the walls were concrete, a welcome relief from our previous paper-thin barriers. But old habits die hard, and I found myself pressed against the wall late at night, straining to catch any hint of life from next door. It was mostly silent until one night I heard a faint, distressed voice. This person was talking on the phone. I listened more closely. The cries and pleas for forgiveness painted a picture of heartbreak and desperation. It was chilling, especially when a calm, almost resigned voice said directly through the wall, "Don't be like me." I jumped away from the wall, my heart racing. The next day, a for rent sign was posted next door. Whoever was there had left, and the eerie silence returned. I tried to listen occasionally, but it was never the same. Fast forward 4 years, I graduated, started grad school, and even met a guy. He was perfect. Our past, our interests, and even our habit of catching late-night movies on Mondays aligned beautifully. It all seemed too good to be true, until it wasn't. His lack of replies and a suspicious text from another woman shattered my ideal world. Desperate to hold on to what we had, I confronted him. In a fit of desperation, mirroring the anguish I once overheard, I found myself contemplating an extreme gesture to showcase my love. But in that moment of madness, the connecting threads of my past and present tangled, halting my drastic intentions. A harsh scuffle ensued as he tried to disarm me, leading to an accidental tragedy. Amid the chaos, forgiveness was begged, apologies were screamed, but it was too late. The irony of the situation dawned on me. I had become the voice behind the wall, the warning I failed to heed. My message to my younger self, to anyone listening, is to learn from the sounds of others' experiences. Sometimes, the most profound lessons come from the stories whispered through the walls. Reflect on them, learn from them, but don't repeat them. Hey everyone on the forum. So I had this freaky experience a while back, and I thought I'd share it here. It all went down one night, when my girlfriend Emily and I were taking a late evening walk through the neighborhood. It was a peaceful, quiet night, just dim streetlights guiding our way and the occasional car passing by. As we were walking, Emily's eyes caught sight of this beautiful old gazebo sitting in the middle of a small, neglected park. She immediately wanted to go sit there, and honestly, I hesitated. For some reason, looking at that gazebo gave me the chills, like a bad feeling deep in my gut. I tried to steer the conversation away, but Emily was pretty excited and kept talking about how quaint and lovely it would be to sit there for a bit. The closer we got, the more I felt like something was wrong. As we were almost there, I couldn't hold it in any longer and told Emily, "Oh, can we not go there?" She didn't get why I was suddenly freaking out. To her, it was just a fun little detour, but I was sweating bullets. I finally blurted out that someone had died in that gazebo. A woman murdered by her husband with an axe because she was cheating on him. The reason I knew this, because she was someone I once loved. Emily thought I was making it all up to scare her. She laughed it off, thinking it was some sort of dark joke. But I was dead serious. The woman I mentioned had been involved with both me and another guy, which caused a whole tragic mess. So, fueled by curiosity and my hesitant agreement, we continued toward the gazebo. The closer we got, the colder I felt, as if approaching it drained all the warmth from my body. Once we stepped into the gazebo, Emily suddenly stopped chatting and looked at me with this eerie seriousness. She asked, "Do you love me?" in such a stark, chilling way that for a moment I thought I was looking at someone else. I tried to brush it off, pulled her in for a hug, thinking it was her idea of a joke. But she felt cold, lifeless in my arms. Then she asked if I still loved the woman who died. It felt like I was in a twisted reality where Emily was her coming back for answers, or maybe for vengeance. The truth is, my involvement with that deceased woman wasn't innocent. I had inadvertently set in motion the events that led to her death, fueled by jealousy and a desire for revenge against her and the man she ultimately chose over me. Standing in that gazebo, I realized that the depth of my feelings, were they ever about love or just about getting back at someone? The cold grasp of Emily's hands suddenly felt accusing, filled with the weight of my guilt. In a panic, I tried to leave, but Emily's grip tightened. What happened next was so bizarre. I still can't fully explain it. As we stood there in what felt like an eternity, the eerie atmosphere broke with the sound of a distant siren, pulling us back to reality. Emily relaxed her grip, confusion written all over her face, mirroring my own. It was as if whatever had taken hold of her in the gazebo was now gone, leaving us chilled to the bone, but safe. We never talked about what happened that night. The gazebo was torn down a few months later, making room for a new playground. But every time I pass by that park, I can't help but feel the gaze of someone or something watching. A reminder of the night that blurs the line between reality and something far more sinister. Stay safe out there. Sometimes the past doesn't just haunt places, it haunts people waiting for the right moment to remind us of the things we wish we could forget. Late one evening, I found myself slamming the phone down, my heart pounding with anger. "I've made it clear we're getting a divorce. If you won't agree, then be ready for the lawsuit," I had said, my voice cold with resolve. My name is John Carter. To the outside world, I appeared to be a man who had it all: success, wealth, a seemingly perfect life. Yet nobody knew the turmoil brewing underneath. Just a few days earlier, I discovered that my wife, Sarah, was cheating on me, shattering my world completely. Thus, I demanded a divorce. Trying to calm my raging heart, I glanced at a photo of Sarah and me on the table, a bitter reminder of better days. The love we once shared had turned into a deep betrayal, and I couldn't comprehend why. Thus the memory of discovering her infidelity was still vivid. Returning from a business trip without telling Sarah, hoping to surprise her, I was the one who got the shock. A man's shoes at our front door, a sight that filled me with dread. I stealthily entered to find them in our bed. Enraged, I confronted the man, leading to a fierce altercation. "I can't believe you do this," I seethed, feeling a mix of anger and humiliation. The trust and love I had for Sarah were gone, replaced by a sense of failure and betrayal. The phone rang again, pulling me from my thoughts. It was Alex, my lawyer, calling about the divorce papers he had drafted for me. "I'll be at my office," I told him, trying to sound composed. About half an hour later, Alex arrived with someone I hadn't expected. A man dressed entirely in white, from head to toe, despite the warm weather. His piercing gaze unnerved me, but Alex offered no introduction. As Alex handed over the divorce papers for review, everything seemed in order until he asked a peculiar question. "Who are you divorcing?" His tone made it seem like a cruel joke. "Sarah, my wife. It's over between us," I answered, frustration creeping into my voice. However, Alex's next words turned my blood cold. "Are you sure?" "Because Sarah, she died a year ago." Confusion and dread swelled within me. "What do you mean, deed? We just spoke." The man in white finally spoke, his voice calm yet eerie. "John, you and Sarah have been gone from this world for over a year now. You discovered the affair, and in a rage you killed them both. Overwhelmed by guilt, you took your own life shortly after. Sarah's spirit moved on, but you've been lingering, haunted by your actions." My mind raced, trying to process his words. Was this some twisted nightmare? But deep down, the truth began to sink in. The signs were there, the unexplained coldness, the way people looked through me, the isolation I felt even in crowded rooms. "I'm here to help you find peace, to move on," the man continued, extending his hand. Still in shock, I realized this was my chance for redemption, to leave behind the anguish and guilt that had bound me to the world of the living. As I followed him, a weight lifted from my shoulders. I understood now that holding on to anger and resentment was its own kind of prison. In the end, letting go was the only way to find true peace. A while back, I stumbled upon a chilling tale that's been haunting me for days. It serves as a stark reminder that kindness should never be overlooked, and how a moment of thoughtlessness can lead to terrifying consequences. Let me share what I heard. My friend, who used to live in a small town in the Midwest, came back from visiting his elderly parents with this eerie story. This town, known for its simple way of life and close-knit community, was the backdrop of a disturbing incident that shook me to the core. One evening after dinner, my friend was catching up with some relatives when they were interrupted by loud arguments and chaos on the street. Curious, they went to check and saw a group of women from the area physically assaulting an older woman. My friend wanted to intervene, but his relatives stopped him, explaining it was a personal matter not meant for outsiders. This woman, a widow for over 30 years, had been scandalously involved with numerous men from surrounding areas, tarnishing her reputation and shocking the community. Despite her age, she had a dignified and graceful appearance, not fitting the scandalous stories tied to her name. Months later, just before my friend was about to return to the city, his relatives revealed a darker twist to the story. The assaulted woman was believed to have been cursed with what locals called the Carpenters Hex, a form of dark magic supposedly derived from ancient carpentry secrets. She had a distant cousin, a carpenter, who had come to visit and was appalled to hear about her notorious lifestyle, especially given the mysterious circumstances surrounding her husband's death right after their wedding many years ago. Recalling his last visit during the wedding preparations, he remembered a particular mason who had taken a disturbing interest in his cousin and was harshly rebuked for his advances. Suspecting this mason had cursed the new home with a dark spell, the carpenter inspected the house's main beam and discovered a hidden compartment containing a small wooden box. Inside, they found figures made of paper, a headless man, a naked woman, and 9 other naked men, all stained purple-red, presumably with chicken blood. The community quickly destroyed the cursed items, hoping to lift the hex. Since then, the woman's demeanor changed dramatically. She became withdrawn, leading a quiet, secluded life. It seemed the rash words exchanged and the curse had irrevocably changed her life. This story hit me hard, serving as a haunting reminder that our actions and words have power, and the impact of what we say and do can have far-reaching consequences. It's a lesson in treating everyone we meet with kindness and care, for we never know the struggles they face or the burdens they carry, and in this life, being able to live with peace and simplicity is perhaps the greatest blessing of all.